This week was supposed to be all about Darlington storylines and who had the speed for the next stretch of the season. Then NASCAR got hit with a medical update that changed everything. Alex Bowman is out. Not for one race. Not as a precaution for a single weekend. He is out for at least the next 3 Cup races. And the way this replacement situation unfolded is the kind of moment that makes the entire garage stop and look up. But here is what makes this story bigger than just one driver sitting out. Is the domino effect. Alex Bowman's vertigo timeline just got extended. Hendrick Motorsports had to lock in a plan for the number 48 at the Cup level. JR Motorsports had to scramble for Darlington. And the ripple is now touching multiple teams and 2 series at the same time. So let's break down exactly what NASCAR discovered, what actually happened starting at COTA and carrying into Phoenix and Las Vegas, why Hendrick made the call to sit Bowman for at least 3 more races, what Justin Allgaier's role is now, and then the twist that has fans buzzing, who is stepping into the number 88 at Darlington. What actually happened to Alex Bowman? This didn't start as some vague, he's not feeling great rumor. This got real the moment Bowman had to climb out of the car at COTA while the race was still going on. That is not normal. These drivers fight through pain, discomfort, and exhaustion on a weekly basis. They tape up injuries, push through illness, and find ways to stay behind the wheel because missing races has real consequences in a points-based season. So when a driver voluntarily pulls out mid-race, your brain immediately goes, okay, what is the real issue here? The answer came shortly after. Vertigo. Now, vertigo is not like having a cold or dealing with a sore back. It is a balance and dizziness condition that can hit at unpredictable moments. In everyday life, it is disorienting. Inside a stock car running at 180 plus mph, having your senses even slightly off is not something you gamble with. The physical demands of Cup racing, the lateral G-forces, the vibration, the sensory overload of being inside that cockpit, all of it becomes dangerous the moment your equilibrium is compromised. Hendrick Motorsports addressed the situation directly, and they did not try to sugarcoat it or leave things vague. Jeff Andrews, the president and general manager at Hendrick Motorsports, put it in a straightforward way. Alex continues to experience symptoms, so we are following the guidance of the medical team and giving him the time he needs to recover. We see how hard he's working to get back behind the wheel, and we're looking forward to his return when he's medically cleared. Everyone at Hendrick Motorsports is 100% behind Alex. That statement is not vague. That is Hendrick telling you there is no shortcut here. Bowman is not coming back until doctors sign off. Full stop. Now here is the timeline that makes this situation more complicated than it might look on the surface. This is not a one-race issue. Bowman's symptoms have carried across multiple events. At COTA, he had to climb out mid-race, and Matt Snyder jumped in as a relief driver. At Phoenix, Hendrick used Anthony Alfredo as the replacement. And then at Las Vegas, the number 48 got Justin Allgaier, who brought it home 25th. That is already 3 different drivers touching the same operation in a short span of time, and that creates its own set of problems. Why rotating fill-ins is more disruptive than it looks. Once you start running a carousel of replacements, it is not only disruptive for the driver, it is disruptive for the entire team rhythm. Every driver who gets in that car brings a different style, different communication habits, different preferences on setup, different feedback patterns. The engineers, the crew chief, the pit crew, everyone has to recalibrate. It takes time to build that communication loop between a driver and a team, and when you keep swapping people in and out, you're essentially resetting that process every single week. That is exactly why Hendrick's next move was always going to be about stability. Not just plugging a warm body into the seat, but making a real plan for multiple races at once. When people hear at least 3 races, they immediately start counting. The schedule lined up is Darlington on March 22nd, Martinsville on March 29th, and Bristol on April 12th. Those are not soft weeks on the calendar. Those are 3 tracks where you can gain points fast or lose a month in one afternoon. Darlington punishes any mistake at the wall. Martinsville is bumper-to-bumper contact racing. Bristol is controlled chaos. Hendrick had to make a real plan, not just a we'll figure it out on Friday situation. The Cup plan. Justin Allgaier gets the call. The answer for all three races is Justin Allgaier in the number 48. And Hendrick did not just toss that out casually. Jeff Andrews essentially endorsed him as the driver they trust to keep the team on track. Justin is a true professional and someone we have tremendous confidence in. He's had success at the upcoming tracks, and we appreciate him stepping in to help the number 48 team. We're also grateful to our partners at JR Motorsports for understanding the situation and making Justin available. That last line carries more weight than it might seem. Making Justin available. Because Allgaier is not sitting at home between phone calls. He is a full-time Xfinity Series driver for JR Motorsports, one of the most important pieces in that organization. Moving him into a Cup car for multiple weeks requires scheduling coordination, sponsor alignment, logistical planning, and cooperation across two separate operations. It is not as simple as, hey, can you drive this weekend? Allgaier already showed what he can do in this situation. At Las Vegas, he got in the number 48 and finished 25th. Was it a flashy result? No, but that was not the assignment. Sometimes as a fill-in, your job is to keep the car clean, keep the points day alive, and keep the team's momentum from bleeding out. He did exactly that. And now he has been trusted with 3 consecutive races at tracks that will expose every weakness in the car, in the pit box, and in the driver. The Darlington twist nobody saw coming. Here is where the story takes a turn that nobody fully anticipated. Bowman was not only scheduled for Cup racing, he was also set to make an Xfinity Series start at Darlington for JR Motorsports. Once Hendrick confirmed Bowman was missing that start too, JR Motorsports suddenly had a hole to fill in a completely separate series. JRM put out a statement that reads calmly on the surface, but was clearly a quick pivot behind the scenes. We continue to wish Alex a speedy recovery, as Kyle Larson will substitute in the number 88 Chevrolet this weekend at Darlington. We also wish Justin Allgaier the best of luck behind the wheel of the number 48. We will be watching. That is the moment the whole picture clicks into place. It is not just one replacement. It is 2 replacements in 2 series, both connected to Bowman's medical situation and both connected through the Hendrick and JRM partnership. The swap breaks down cleanly. Allgaier moves up to fill the number 48 Cup car for Hendrick. Larson slides into the number 88 Xfinity car for JRM. 1 medical situation, 2 series, 2 replacements, 1 organizational partnership making the whole thing work. This kind of swap is only possible because of how deeply connected Hendrick Motorsports and JR Motorsports are. Most teams in NASCAR simply cannot execute something like this. The trust, the communication infrastructure, and the shared personnel relationships that exist between these 2 organizations make a move like this look almost seamless, even when the situation behind it is anything but. Why Kyle Larson in the number 88 is a bigger deal than it sounds. Kyle Larson is the one stepping in to replace Alex Bowman in the number 88 Chevrolet for JR Motorsports at Darlington. And the reason that is a headline is not simply because Larson is a recognizable name. Larson is the kind of driver who does not show up anywhere just to get laps. He shows up to win. When you drop a driver with his profile and his record into a car that was originally planned for a different entry on the schedule, you instantly turn that car into one of the most watched entries in the field. Darlington is already a track that produces chaos. It is the track that makes veterans look silly. It is the place where you can run top 5 all day and lose everything because you brushed the wall one time too hard. The margins are razor thin, and the track's unique egg-shaped layout means you are constantly managing the relationship between your right side and the wall. Patience is not optional at Darlington. It is survival. The question now becomes, is Larson there to play it safe, or is he going to go full send and try to win? Because those are 2 very different races with 2 very different outcomes. A safe, clean run protects JRM's entry and avoids headlines. A front-running Larson going for a win at Darlington becomes the story of the entire weekend. What this means for Bowman. While all of this is being arranged and announced, Alex Bowman is watching it unfold from the outside. And that is a specific kind of difficult that most people watching at home do not fully register. Denny Hamlin, who has been in a similar position before, described it accurately I've been there in the sense of having to watch someone else. Listen, this is not like you're a basketball player and you're injured and on the bench and there's a new guy out there in the starting five. The guy is wearing your jersey. You know what I mean? Trust me, it's very weird as a driver seeing someone else in your suit and in your car. It's wild, and it's certainly not pleasant. That is one of the most precise descriptions of what a NASCAR driver experiences during a forced absence. Fans see it as a fill-in situation. Drivers experience it as someone else carrying their identity around the track. The car, the number, the suit, the helmet colors, all of it is tied to who that driver is in the sport. And Bowman has to watch multiple people take turns in that role. While he manages a medical condition, he cannot simply push through. Hendrick Motorsports is making it clear that the timeline is medical, not emotional, and not driven by the race schedule. Bowman is not going to be rushed back because the team is in a tough spot. The stability that Allgaier provides in the Cup car, and the fact that Larson is handling the Darlington Xfinity slot, means Bowman does not face the psychological pressure of feeling like he is leaving a desperate team in a hole every week he is out. That is what a well-managed replacement situation looks like. It buys time without panic. What to watch in the weeks ahead? The next 3 Cup races, Darlington, Martinsville, and Bristol, are not forgiving. They will expose car speed, pit strategy mistakes, communication breakdowns, and driver patience all at once. For Allgaier, the test is straightforward but demanding. Can he keep the number 48 in the fight, maintain the team's rhythm, and avoid turning one bad week into a 3-race spiral? His Vegas run showed he can manage the car. Now, the question is whether he can be competitive over a stretch of tracks that are nothing like each other. For Larson, it is a different kind of test. Can he jump cold in the number 88 at Darlington and be immediately sharp? Not just fast, but disciplined at a track where being too aggressive too early tends to end your afternoon before it begins. And the bigger questions will start to emerge depending on how these weeks play out. Does a strong Larson run at Darlington spark longer conversations about what he can do in other equipment? Does a consistent Allgaier stretch over 3 Cup races raise his profile and open doors for future opportunities? These are the storylines that live underneath the surface of the immediate replacement situation. The full picture right now is this. The discovery was Bowman's lingering vertigo symptoms. The Cup plan is Allgaier locked in for at least the next 3 races. And the Darlington twist is Kyle Larson stepping into the number 88. Hendrick Motorsports handled a messy medical situation as cleanly as it could be handled. JRM filled their open slot with a driver who does not take starts lightly. And Bowman has the space to recover without being rushed by a team in crisis mode. That is about as clean as a complicated situation can get in NASCAR. Now the racing does the talking.